It is now officially 9:02. I would like to call the Sewage and Water Board meeting for December 14th, 2022 to order. Special counsel, the roll, please.
Mayor Cantrell. Councilmember King.
Here.
Director Barnes.
Here.
Director Duplessis.
Present.
Director Markowitz.
Present.
Director Guzman.
Here.
Director Pacho.
Here.
Director Sloss.
Here.
Director Howard.
Here.
Director Scholas.
Here.
Director Taylor. We do have a quorum.
Perfect, thank you. All right, next, we have on our agenda approval of the minutes dated October 26, 2022. May we have a motion to approve October 26th meeting minutes?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Director Sloss, second by Director Pacho. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the November 16th, 2022 special meeting of the Board of Directors?
So moved. I'm sorry, you're right.
Second. Howard was moved.
Is it
Oh,
moved
I
by
moved. I'm
Director
sorry, I moved,
Howard?
yeah.
It's okay. And seconded by Director Sloss. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next, we'll have the Executive Director's report. Mr. Corbin, please proceed with your report.
Good morning, Madam Chair,
Good
Board
morning.
of Directors. The pace today will be a little bit maybe faster than usual because we are well aware of the weather coming towards us and a lot of closures, school closures. So we'll do our best to condense a very busy agenda actually today. So I'll be briefer than brief today with my presentation. I have a few items to cover, so we'll go into the first one. An awesome day we had last week celebrating or groundbreaking the power complex for Swebno in partnership with Entergy. A lot of stakeholders and partners showed up to celebrate that day. We're at a point of no return. We're moving forward with an exciting and very legacy project for our city. We're building something that's going to serve the city for the next 50 years or so. So we're very, very excited. We're all been supportive of this project, and it's happening. It's reality. So, in terms of finances, today you will hear a brief presentation from Ray Lewis, our CFO, a balanced and very thoughtful budget from him. In a few minutes, I wanted to share with you that we have been successful, and many of you have been aware of it, with a $45 million, it's a typo, drainage bond that allows us to move that power complex forward. So it's a very, very key step that took place about a couple weeks ago. Exciting to also to share with you that we've received $7 million from FEMA, related to COVID-related expenses, and $5 million specific to damages that were caused to our utility by Hurricane Ida. And it's progressing well. There may be more funding coming our way. Our staff is diligently working on maximizing reimbursement from FEMA, so it's very exciting. And also happy to share with you that our monthly revenue continue to be stable and maybe slightly on the rise. Relatively speaking, from a year ago, we're doing very well, and that's due to a steady, stable, and normal collection processes. So we're very appreciative of that, and it takes a lot of work on staff to maintain that. So very, very happy to report that. A couple of quick things about partnerships, because that's how good things happen. We've, as you know, participated in the Amnesty program, and it had been very fruitful for us, presenting or offering a lot of goodwill and reasonable plans for our customers to become in good standing. So again, it's moving forward in partnership with the city. Very exciting to share that we've been working on this probably for a good year, the one-stop shop coordination with the city. As you know, the city has a much more automated more streamlined process for permitting. We have a very antiquated system. We've all knew that, and we thought it was more efficient to just join the city's currently good system to provide our customers with better customer service. So we just signed the CA with the city, and what that means is we will have a staff present with the city at City Hall to be able to accept and approve and process permits for our customers in that location. They don't no longer have to navigate, our building here, and then obviously will create a lot of efficiency and ultimately better customer service. Obviously, the other layer is the automation and the documentation. We currently have index cards and everything is documented on paper. Now it will be all automated and obviously better for everything and everybody. So thanks to Rene and his staff for making that a priority and getting that done. And obviously we're thankful to the city for accepting that partnership. So they didn't really have to, but they saw the need and the synergy that could be enjoyed. Again, one of our top priorities has been how do we address surface cuts. We have been doing very well in terms of getting our own cuts restored, whether we use our own staff and our crews, as well as 2 contractors helping us with that effort. We've allocated good amount of money for that because we know it's very critical service that we have to provide for the city and our customers. But moreover, the city DPW just procured a contractor to cover the backlog that they had committed to restore for us in as many as 1,200 locations. And they just opened bids. They are going through the bids, but it's looking hopeful that they will do that work will move forward. Yes, sir.
So the number one complaint I get from my neighbors is around this issue, coordinating with DPW. I appreciate that now they have a contractor coming in to deal with these 1,200 repairs, but I think it's really important that we either coordinate with or meet with them so we can have a public sort of discussion about where we are in the process. Because again, if I could just literally 90% of the things that people call me for, email me about, or text me about are related to this. And a good chunk of them are issues where the utility has finished our part and we're handing off to DPW. This is a huge dissatisfier. This is a public relations challenge for us. And I really want to figure out a way to work together with them rather than each of them throwing each other under the bus. Right. To really sort of help the public understand what the process is and what we're doing with this. Because this is new information to me, and again, this is directly relevant to some complaints I got as recently as last week.
Absolutely. We have made, for our utility, the 2 top issues, billing, rectifying billing, and surface cuts. We talk about those and solutions on a constant basis. What's challenging for us now is we committed to the city that we will restore any surface cut that we've created, right? So they're no longer following us restoring what we create. What they are responsible for is managing the backlog that they had committed to a long time ago. And then once those 1,200 are done, we should be able to keep up with our own. The challenge today is that because there's been a lull in them doing those older ones, is that we get complaints, and rather than do the current ones that we're creating, we go back and do some of the ones on the backlog, and challenging us with reallocating resources to go to the old ones which have been sitting there for a long time, and creating our own backlog per se. So once they take care of those, I think we should be on pace, and you should have significantly less complaints about that, because we're going to be able to keep up.
Do we get reimbursed if we're doing work that they're supposed to be doing?
So the answer is no, because they're doing the work for us, and we would ultimately be responsible for that cost. So it's a CA that was
created. Okay, so they're doing the work, but we're responsible for the cost because it's considered our problem.
That is correct. So if we do one that they were supposed to do, we're saving. We're
not spending.
We're not
paying.
we're not paying them, we're spending our own money for it. So it's an ongoing issue, but it should be resolved once the 1,200 are restored.
And we don't take on the problem because we don't have the capacity
That is correct.
to do contracting, even though we're responsible for paying for it?
That arrangement was created a long time ago, and they had the ability to bond. They bonded, the city bonded about $6.5 million in 2018, 2019. They did about 900 locations, ran out of that money, and now rebonded 8.3 million, which we couldn't have done, to keep going, but COVID and other issues slowed it down. Those 1,200 would have been done had they kept going, but there was an interruption or a lull that they're picking up and now starting over.
If we don't have the upfront money, how do we have the money to reimburse them?
Well, it's over time. That's what.
It's public financing through the bonds.
Well, we pay them back through system funding, but on annual basis, so we don't have to pay them all at once. It's just it allows us. They front the money, and then we pay them in installments, basically. So that's an arrangement that's existed for a long time. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen.
But is it a good arrangement to still have in place, I guess is my question.
Yeah, it's a very good arrangement, but at one point, we should be responsible for restoring our own surface cuts moving forward. And we should be able to budget for it, stay ahead of it, and not rely on another agency to do our work. So, and I promise you it will work once that backlog is done. So,
We're gonna be held responsible for it, whether it was our job or not, because everybody thinks it's our job.
Yep.
I have to say, getting off of index cards under one-stop shop coordination is a big move. And Renee, thanks for getting us off paper onto a computer.
Thanks for bringing it up. I did have a quick question.
Yeah.
So the staff that was responsible for doing that work here in-house, are they now with the city's one-stop shop? What happened?
they'll be there doing the same work,
Yes,
but in a more efficient and more automated fashion.
got
So,
it. Thank you.
What will happen is that we'll send over a couple of staff members to do the customer-facing work. And we still have sort of like back office staff here in our building.
Just making sure that we didn't lose any jobs
No.
due to this process. Okay,
yeah, it's just becoming more efficient and better customer service.
thank you.
We continue to do a lot, as you know, all their outreaches that we need to do to meet our customers where they are. One thing that we've done very wisely, and I gotta thank Becca and her team for recognizing that one of our major stakeholders is our employees relative to understanding and appreciating the smart meter program, embracing it, understanding it. We look at them as not only employees but also customers. So as part of advocating and promoting that project, we've held actually Renee and Becca and their teams held 3 meetings for our employees to educate them, gain insight, and it was pretty remarkable what kind of insight we got from our employees. Good questions, a lot of good ideas, suggestions, which we put together, obviously, to help us, improve the product moving forward. So very, very wise, and it gives us a better understanding of what it's going to look like when we start going out in the public and talk about the program. So kudos. Every time any city council would invite us to participate in their events where they think we add value, we show up. This was Councilwoman Harris. She held an infrastructure resource summit, and we attended and talked about our projects and the progress and all the good things that we're doing. I met with stakeholders in New Orleans East, conglomerate of community organizations, just talk about some of their issues. New Orleans East is unique in many ways in terms of their needs, and we talked about canals, maintenance, maybe even utilizing canals as an amenities for the communities there. So it was a very good conversation. And obviously in advance of the power complex, we held a neighborhood meeting in collaboration with Entergy to share the project and what it means to our neighbors, not only in New Orleans, but also in Jefferson Parish, because they are on the west side of the project. So we availed the opportunity, for them to come and ask questions, learn about the project. We did a video of that meeting, and we've been directing people who have questions about that who could not attend to that video. So it's been very, very good approach. And lastly, just want to announce today that we have a fully executed contract for the smart meter. I want to congratulate the team. You'll be hearing from them in a few minutes. It's very, very exciting. It is, I guess, wise to point out that negotiation does take time with a project this complicated. It's very customary for a project like this to take that long, and we probably took a little less time than other cities in terms of negotiating. We wanted to make every good decision on behalf of our customers. Again, once we start installing and moving forward, you know, the decisions we make today will last for years. And we were very careful, very steady, very thoughtful about every decision we made. And we have a very good vendor, very good partner with Equimetrics that allowed us to optimize technology, what's there. We listened to them, they listened to us, and I truly believe we ended up with a very good product that we negotiated. So it was very exciting. I don't want to steal Renee and Becca's thunder, so they'll be sharing some very, very exciting steps and information relative to that. It is key to point out that in the meantime, because it's going to take a while, obviously, to fully execute and roll out the smart meters, we are implementing what we had promised you, the 50%, basically splitting the routes in half, focusing on 50% every month. Kudos to Renee and his team. We are averaging 96% of the 50% for each month. So that's a new high number for us, that obviously allowing us to provide accurate reads and minimizing the amount of calculated or estimated bills. Yes, ma'am.
Ghassan, I just wanted to observe that the meter reading has been a problem for a long time, and it was recognized as a problem by you. You and your team worked on it. They tried to meet. The first solution was to try to get the full complement. It didn't work out. We've got all kinds of restrictions when it comes to dealing with HR, human resource issues. And then you pivoted to something that looks like it'll be a really promising interim solution. And so I think, you know, that flexibility, it really deserves, and creativity deserves recognition.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And obviously, it's a teamwork, and we believe that it's going to allow us to bring better results in the meantime. Now, because of that, I want you to know that when we talked about the financial feasibility and the rate-making process, we came to you with a plan. We heard you loud and clear. You wanted us to correct a few things before we go out to the public, so we did slow down that process. And we believe that in February we'll have good results to share with you that will give us and you more confidence in how to proceed with that process. In the meantime, we will be, again, using the same model, reaching out to our employees with that, I guess, public outreach to educate them, seek feedback from them, and just get us started and more confident in how we tell the story to our public, hopefully after Mardi Gras. So again, I want you to know that, you know, your insight and your feedback was wise, and obviously is guiding us in a better way, and there's I think better path ahead. So we appreciate your feedback and your trust in us. And with that, I want to tell you that January we're very excited to bring you basically not only accomplishments of 22 on behalf of the team and everybody who worked for the utility, but also share some of the continued initiatives moving forward. So we're very excited about that. So that concludes my presentation, and I look forward to the smart meter program, which I think follows, and then the budget. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ghassan. Are there any questions following Director's report? All right, hearing none, then let's move on with our next agenda item. I absolutely agree. That is a great segue into our next agenda item, which is a smart reader update.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Becca Johnsey, and I am the program manager for our smart meter program. So I wanted to come to you and give you an update. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to give you the project status. Ghassan let the cat out of the bag. We do have a signed agreement, which we're thrilled about. We're going to be talking about an overview of the benefits, just as a reminder. I know a lot of you in this room have worked on this program for quite a few years, so it's really exciting. So we just want to reiterate all of the benefits that are coming our way. We're going to be talking about our outreach campaign, and then going into some of the actual technical details of our smart metering solution, including design decisions, pricing, and next steps. So per resolution R91, the project was approved for a $67 million budget with a contract term of 3 years and 5 successive one-year extensions. And I do want to say a huge thank you. Some are in the room. This is a big deal, and people put a lot of effort and time and expertise into negotiating a fantastic program for our city. So I want to say thank you to all of our board members here and everyone in the board for getting this project started off on the right foot. And I want to say thank you to Aquametric, our prime contractors, for Census, which is our technology solution company, EMP Enterprises, who will be our installer company and is a local DBE firm, as well as Vertex One, who is the owner of our customer portal, which was presented as WaterSmart, but it's actually being rebranded to VX Smart. So from here out, we'll be talking about it as VX Smart, which will be our customer portal.
I hand it off to Renee.
I hand it off.
Morning, everyone. So thank you for having us today. I'm always excited to talk about the benefits of smart meters. As Ghassan was just stating, and as most of you are aware, we face numerous challenges to obtain consistent actual meter reads, and that's been a primary obstacle in our efforts to enhance customer trust and confidence. So switching to smart meters will eliminate monthly manual meter reads and provide timely water usage data, regardless of staffing challenges, weather events, and weather-related conditions and power outages. For customer-facing staff, they will now have a plethora of information at their disposal when communicating with customers, including the ability to view in their screens what customers view on theirs. And that's a real game changer when trying to explain bills to customers and troubleshooting with them. Threshold alerts will empower customers to have a greater control over their consumption and spending, which is especially important given the financial economic times that we're going through. Customers should also enjoy greater protection of their property from water damage, easier and less expensive payment options, and a greater understanding and hopefully appreciation of the effort and cost required to provide a safe and reliable water services. Customers will also benefit from information and alerts before damage, either to their pockets or their properties, and smart metering enables them to see and understand their water usage throughout the day. Smart meters will also improve our ability to serve customers by increasing efficiency, improving operations through the ability to investigate, diagnose, and solve water distribution problems, locating leaks before they do, significant damage to water infrastructure, which can also save thousands of dollars in non-revenue water loss. This will enable us to direct attention on repairing aging and deteriorating water pipes as opposed to just focusing time and money on emergency repairs, and doing so can extend the life of capital assets. Automating these functions also will allow us to implement better workforce management. Utilities, including ours, are able to transition staff into their roles, other roles, an important capability in the face of significant retirements in the utility industry in the next 10 to 15 years. And in regards to environmental, We all know or should know that water is a limited natural resource that should or must be safeguarded. And many customers are also interested in reducing their carbon footprint. AMI helps that sustainability goal by eliminating carbon-intensive tasks, resulting in savings of fuel, vehicle expenses, labor costs, all which result in a lower carbon footprint, as well as economic, environmental, and social gains. So as you might imagine, smart meter implementation is not your typical project. It's a big project that will enable us to transform the utility into the utility that we so much want and need to become. In projects as big and as significant as this one, change management is a critical component of any project. AMI is no question a disruptive technology, and we need to prepare our employees, as Ghassan was stating earlier. Generally, human tendency is to resist change, especially unexpected change, so it will be critical for us to communicate consistently and thoroughly and keep staff engaged and well-informed throughout our journey. So to do so, we're following the ADHCAR change management model. I'm not gonna get into it. I know some people are in a hurry here, but it's basically that, I think it's blue or black stripe right there, awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. And A is awareness that there is a need for change. So that's where we are. We are in phase A. And this is where efforts are centered on instilling a change is good mindset in all of our stakeholders. And we have already begun, as already mentioned, and will continue to develop tools both off and online to communicate with and educate our workforce. This initial stage is where we talk about staffing and skills development evolution and about job processes changing, knowing that some of these processes, some of these tasks have been around for years, and the importance of process re-engineering. And this is where we signal that we can only get better if we are all willing to learn and to evolve. So we've already begun and will continue to facilitate internal presentations about smart meters, continue educating our staff. In a project of this magnitude, it's important for staff to know that more collaboration is coming. Each department's work will impact others like never before, and we all know what silos can do. So a post-AMI utility should have fewer standalone or non-collaborative silos. Throughout the project, we will develop a variety of communication tools that will encourage our workforce not only to participate in the change, but to be promoters and champions of this change that will benefit our utility, our workforce, and our community. Back to Becca.
Okay, so I'm going to talk in a little bit more detail about our technology solution, our smart metering solution. When I gave a presentation to you several months ago, I talked about all of the different design details, and in order to negotiate the contract, we actually had to narrow down our choices and make our final selections for our solution. So we're gonna go through some of those choices now. The first one is in regards to meter selection. So our choices were we could stay with mechanical meters, which means meters with moving parts. It's the tried and true technology. But the downside of that is that with aging, when meters moving parts start slowing down, we don't get as accurate reads. Or we could look at the newer technology, which is a static meter. So these have no moving parts. This is where the industry is going. They're getting more and more of a market share, and this is what most of your major implementations have gone to in the past few years. So we did go ahead and select a static meter solution. So you can see these are the meters that we chose for our solution. 94% of our residential meters that will be installed are the iPearl meters, and then 6% will be the Ally meters. So these are both static meter solutions. The iPearl is fantastic. It gives you all of those alerts that you need, high consumption, tamper alerts, anything like that. It allows you to get all of those alerts. You get a read every single hour, so you get all that granularity of data. The Ally meters do the same thing, but you get additional functionality. So you also get pressure monitoring and the capability of remote shutoff. The reason why we couldn't deploy 100% Ally meters, of course, it's cost prohibitive. It's quite more expensive to get an Ally meter over an iPearl meter. So these we deployed strategically. The Ally meters, 1% will be deployed to monitor our distribution network. So they're going to be placed in strategic locations. So if we know that there's a pressure situation happening, we know it before there's an eruption out of the ground. We can actually monitor that through our pressure profiling within our utility. And then the rest would be for our repeat truck roll customers. These are ones that have water turned on and off, high move-out rates and things like that. So we have the ability to turn on or off the water remotely in the office. And then our commercial solution meters are the Omni Plus meters. So these will be installed in anything over 1.5 inches will be the Omni Plus. So our next major design point was our network infrastructure. Sorry, did anyone have questions on meters? Good, okay. Our network infrastructure. So these are the towers and antennas that will be installed throughout the city that creates that umbrella of a radio network. It is a secure FCC radio frequency, so it's a secure use just for us. We went back and looked from the initial propagation study, which determines the coverage, and we were able to identify one additional location to put 12 total base stations throughout the city. And so what that means in regards to redundancy is that about 96% of our meters will be read by 3 different collectors. So we have 3 different points to collect that information. 99.7% will be read by at least 2. So the redundancy in the system and the collection is fantastic when we look at a network infrastructure. And I know the questions that are coming up next are going to be in regards to towers and tower locations, so I do want to address that. Right now, we are putting all of the infrastructure on either Sewage and Water Board or city-owned property. So we're not having to acquire any locations to put up towers, which is fantastic for us. We will have 4 new 100-foot monopoles. They look exactly like a telephone pole. You wouldn't notice it different from a cell tower. 2 of them are on our plants, and 2 of them, one will be right next to I-10 and away from any residential areas, and the second one will be in Mirabeau Gardens, additionally not near any residential areas. So it shouldn't impact the residents, but we will be reaching out to those communities prior to. Questions on networks?
Did you have any pictures of what they look like? I know you mentioned that they look like telephone poles.
I don't in this presentation, but I can get them to you.
Okay, just have an idea if we saw them in a community that we would know what they look like.
I have looked at quite a few pictures, and I'm an engineer, and I have not been able to decipher them from the things that you see passing the street. But I will definitely get out the pictures to everyone.
Oh, I'm certain my neighbors can decipher them.
That's more
very,
expertise
very
than
certain.
Dr. Phillips, they will not be in your neighborhood, so
I'm just
you're
saying.
good to go.
Is there any different how this could be affected with weather events?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
So that's a little bit leans toward redundancy. So I want to go over redundancy a little bit. So we have the ability to collect the reads and store the data in the meters themselves for several weeks. And then once we get them to the data collectors, once they pick up that read, it can store there for several months. Okay, so when we don't get a read, let's say it's flooding, right? Like it's supposed to do this afternoon. A radio signal is not going to go through a certain amount of water. So if you have several feet of water, you're not going to get that signal. So we'll have to store until the water drains, and then we can pick it up. So we do know that. We do have real-world experience in Ida. Several communities in the Gulf Coast have this system deployed, and they received no disruption at all in regards to the system being down. Because there is redundancy built in so many locations, they were able to get the read. And we do have, just beyond the actual technology redundancy, we do have the ability to drive by and get reads, and we can also go physically go get reads.
So if
on the
anything,
meter.
it just improves our situation during a weather event.
Very much so. The redundancy of the system is fantastic. And then in the absolute worst case scenario that we go 6-10 months out and we don't have the ability to have a network up to get those reads, we will still get a final read at the end. You just won't have that data granularity. So the degrees of redundancy here in the system are fantastic, especially for us. in our situation with our hurricanes.
From both a technology perspective, but also from a labor perspective too. Yeah, so,
For sure.
Correct, we're not putting people out in inclement situations.
well, you need less people also. So in any case you have a labor shortage, we're in a good position.
Correct.
You talked about the reads in terms of timing. The system will also allow, and it probably just didn't explicitly say so, us to take reads like in advance of an event. So we know impending weather is coming on Friday. You normally pick up these reads on Friday. You have the remote ability to say, yes, let's do these reads on Thursday just to head off a weather event. We do have those options as well, correct?
Correct, so we get reads every single hour,
Got it.
and that's automatically pulled into our system. So we have hourly data with the reads.
And
Yeah, we just don't generate a bill,
Mm-hmm.
but we get hourly data.
Got it.
So I think,
how does the homeowner access it?
So the homeowner will be accessing it
It's coming up, yeah.
yep,
through our
it's a
customer portal.
portal.
The portal.
No, and I think this is what's really important is that this is a paradigm shift from now where we gather data at discrete points to it's continuous data.
Yeah.
And the other thing I think is really important to notice is what does this mean? So we will have access to customer data in real time from all over the place. So all of a sudden, if the water goes out at my house and I say there's a problem, they'll be able to see is water being delivered to everybody in my neighborhood at the same time? Is it a problem with everybody in my neighborhood? Is it a problem just at my house? Is there, and it really helps us get data to understand off the bat, is this something unique to my house on my property, or is it something that seems to be affecting the global area? And I also think that it also comes out and gives us data in real time so we can actually identify problems before the bill is generated that's all out of whack and crazy. And so this is going to eliminate a lot of problems where people say, well, this isn't a fair bill.
Right.
This is something we need to adjudicate and talk about because we didn't get to that point. We identified there was a problem before it even happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes us from I think one of the biggest differences, having gone through this in the past, is that when customers understand it, and that's gonna be on us, they will embrace it. They will embrace the technology. In regards to the billing aspect, we'll have the ability because reads are captured every hour. So you're on call with a customer and they're disputing the bill, right? Today it would be the bill that was read, 2-3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, months ago. Right now we can access that data and have a read that was almost instantaneous while you have the customer on the phone.
It's huge.
And one more point relative to workforce, we will definitely need less people, but this program will require
different
a
kind of
higher
person.
skill set,
Absolutely.
more attractive jobs, which we will definitely invest in our staff and elevate them and give them all the skills so they enjoy higher salaries, better environment, and we're getting rid of the most manual, laborious, unattractive position in the utility, which is the meter reading.
Yeah, better jobs, but also a reminder that we didn't at this point have enough labor to do meeting. So we're not eliminating jobs. We're just
Correct.
improving the jobs that we have.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Correct. And we will be providing all training needed to get those staff where they need to be.
Yeah, and because this is a multi-year project, just plan through natural attrition, right? Because meter reading is a revolving door because the nature of the job, the difficulty in the salary, all these things. So it's just sort of in parallel, controlling those two, the inputs and the outputs.
Do we have the ability, with, working with civil service at this point, to hire the proper technological people for the job? Because this is a whole new plane and a new level of sophistication. Or do we have issues coming up in that area?
No, so they've been fantastic. We've been working with them hand in hand, as well as our HR workforce to get this plan in place. So we do have the identified needs that we are going to have to get external talent for, as well as the potential paths for internal talent to transition as needed.
And we have the capacity to get the proper salary set and things like that, because that's been
So far, so good, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Portland.
Did you say when we start, when we expect to finish?
So right now, the implementation phase is scheduled for 3 years, but of course, we're not going to know until we start getting into the ground and seeing what we find. So how we mitigate that is we have a slow start rollout. And so that lets us go to a certain number of customers. And so we can anticipate what we're really going to find when we start going and doing these meter changes out. And that we'll forecast as we move forward, so we'll have a better idea.
So start date plus 3 years, but when's the start date?
January 1st.
January 1st. I gotta say congratulations. You know, think about it. This is awesome. This is a completely different water board than it was 4 years ago when I got here. We're getting rid of paper with the one-stop shopping and this and the West Power Complex. It's just seismic changes, and thanks to everybody for all the work y'all are doing. This is gigantic. I know Director Scholler said he hears a lot about the torn up streets. I hear a hell of a lot about the bills. I can tell you that right now. So I'm delighted about this. This is fabulous.
Thanks.
So thank you.
I have a question. Where will you start the rollout?
Yeah, so I do have a timeline slide. Do you want me to talk about it then?
Well,
Or,
Well, if it's coming, it's coming. So
it's coming, yeah.
yeah.
But I asked the location. I'm not sure you heard. Okay.
Yes, I did. Okay. So I did want to talk about our customer portal and the industry portal. It's going to be very user friendly. There's of course as well as the sewage water board. So we'll be monitoring to say something's going on at my location. So this is a fantastic resource. We're really excited to be doing it. And we have, as Renee said, the ability to mirror. So all of our customer service reps can see exactly what they're seeing as a customer. So this is huge when we start talking about communication effectiveness with our customers. All right, so this is an overview of our timeline. It might be hard to see the different colors. There are different colors in there, but you can see we're at the end of 2022, and we have a signed contract. So we officially have our meter vendor for this project. The next step is going to be implementation and integration planning. So one of the key things in integration planning and implementation planning, first we have to deploy our network. We have to start looking at all of the difficulties when we're talking about integrating with our current systems and our new systems. And we're going to be talking about route planning. So this is the locations of where we are starting for this program. So what it will be is there will be one full route. So right now we have a route of reads that's done at the same time, right? They're all in one location, and it's usually done by hand by a meter reader that goes through that route. So the same thing would be for us. We would do a route and start from the route and finish the route. They would not be able to start another route until they are at 96% complete of that route. And they'd go route by route. And they will be distributed throughout the city. They won't be one specific location. They're going to be spread throughout the entire city. And when we start planning that routing, we're going to be getting input from the council members, input from the board members, input especially from our meter reading group, because they know the routes. They know where we're going to have trickier plumbing situations than not. They're going to know places where the meters are buried versus not, and they're going to be spread. We're also going to have 2 different implementation crews. One will be going on commercial routes, and one will be going on residential routes. So these will be rolling out concurrently.
So the key about that, guys, and I cheated and I went to the employee presentation. So this is my second or third time looking at this. So that's why I got some of the stuff in, is that you have to switch by routes, because what you don't want to have is one route that's half manual and half automated, because that doesn't help anybody, because you still have to send people out to it. Yep. So what we're hoping to do is we're hoping to eliminate chunks of people, a whole group at a time. So if route A goes my house, your house, your house, your house, we're going to finish this route of 4, so we're all switched over to the automated system before we do the next set of your house, your house, your house, your house. Whereas if we did them all concurrently, we'd have nothing until everything switched over at once at the end. Yeah. So I think that wasn't quite clear to me when I first heard this, so that's why I'm restating it for people that didn't quite sink in.
Yeah, there's a relationship between routes and billing cycles. So that's something that we need to be very aware of, not to take steps backwards, yeah, in our billing processes, yeah. Thank you. And thank you for attending, and also thank you for attending.
And this is our last slide, so if there's any questions.
I have a question. In the portal, when it shows the amount that they will be billed, is that the total amount of the bill? Like, will that include like the sanitation fee, or is that just the water portion?
So they will be presenting, so the portal is just showing the data. So we're still using the same billing analytics software that creates the bill. So it's going to be the same. Nothing's changing in regards to how we're billing, what composes the bill. The only thing that's changing is the accuracy of that data. So it'll be that final amount of consumption will be on that bill. They'll be able to see the granularity, but their bill will be just based on once the billing period ends, that last read.
And I also just wanted to also commend you for really kind of integrating the staff into this process, not just the people working on this, but really identifying them as stakeholders and potential champions of this. And I think that's also just very new. Kind of doing an orientation for staff, making everyone feel like they're a part of this, which they are. And it's not sort of isolated to people that are just working directly on the project. So I think that's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
So thank you for your time.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Extremely exciting project. Congratulations to the team, and we look forward to our next updates and following the process as it moves along. Thank you again.
President, I do have to. leave
Absolutely.
As well.
Good. All right, moving on with our next item on our agenda, we have 2 committee reports for presentation and approval, Finance and Administration, and the Special Finance and Administration Committee meeting. Director Howard, could you please proceed forward with the Finance and Administration Committee report?
I'm trying to call that up. I had that. The Finance Committee met twice in the last month. The first time was to review they have receive a presentation on the budget, so they'd be informed by the time it came to consider it the next meeting. And I'm having trouble finding my notes at this point. What page is it on, Yolanda? Do you know? Does it start? In the packet, I've lost the spot.
Do we want to start with the?
Okay, here it is, here it is.
Do the
Just-
other one first,
Yeah, I
because
think it would,
mine's kind of
yes,
quick.
I think it would be,
Yeah, oh, yeah, Poker.
yeah. Because the Special
ahead.
Finance Committee was actually held December 1st.
Yeah, that
So
one.
that would be a good one to start with.
So, the board, there was a special board members meeting on November 16th anyway, it was November 16th, it looks like I'm out of whack here too, 9:30, we met in the boardroom. Those present were Mayor Cantrell, Director Duplessis, Pacio, myself, Barnes, Cholos, and Howard. There were numerous staff present. There was a resolution for authorization of issuance of a drainage system limited tax bonds, the $45 million we referred to in one of the presentations here today. The mayor asked for a motion to approve, and it's R 169-2022. What?
No, you're good.
I thought you were saying something, I'm sorry. Excuse me. The mayor asked for a motion to approve R 169-2022 as amended. Director Howard moved to accept it, and Slaw seconded. The motion carried. That was the end of it. It was a meeting that lasted from 9:30 to 9:37. That's my report. Briefest one I've ever given.
Understood. So at this time, we have a motion to accept the December 1st Special Finance Committee report.
Is that the December 1st?
No, that
Mine don't
wasn't
say
December
December
1st.
November
You were doing the
16th.
board.
November 16th.
November 16th.
That's a board meeting, right?
Yeah, special board directors meeting. Did I not say that?
Yes, it's a special one. It's just that my notes had the wrong date. I apologize.
Okay, so
Motion to
moved.
accept the committee report. Thank you, Dr. Scholas.
Second.
Second by Director Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the committee report has been accepted.
All right, then there are 2 meetings of the Finance Committee. Do you want to do the first one, or you want me to do it, Poco? You were there.
Go ahead and do it, because
Okay, the first one was held on
No one's
December
there.
1st. Those present were Directors Sloss, Howard, Pacio, and it was a presentation of the operating and capital budgets in preparation, so that we would become familiar with them in preparation for the next Finance Committee meeting where they were actually adopted. I think there's one thing that needs to be changed in this set of minutes, so I don't know how we do it. It says the Special Finance and Administration Committee met. It's really a special meeting of the
That was
Finance and
December 1st,
Administration.
not this one that's up to December 7th.
This is December 1. It's a special meeting, not a special committee.
Okay.
So if we could just change that, Yolanda, I think that's pretty technical. The second meeting was held on, it was longer. December 7th, and it began at 9:03. Those present were Directors Howard, Pacio, and Markowitz. And there were a couple of presentations. Gray Lewis gave a presentation on the cash flow overview. And there was a review of customer statistics and age receivables. Action items included authorization of an application to the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality, which carried a budget blanket spending resolution, which carried, and an operating budget resolution, which carried, as well as a capital budget resolution. Then we had the usual superintendent's report, the contract renewals, contract change orders, contract amendments, and contract closures, which were reviewed at that time and are coming to the board today. And that is it. So.
Okay. All right, so what we have on the floor now is a motion to approve the Finance Committee meeting that was held on December 7th.
So moved.
Moved by Director Pacho,
Second?
second by Dr. Sholas. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, the motion carries. So that takes care of our 2 committee reports. Next on our agenda, we have an item for discussion. Our CAO, Admiral Dave Callahan, will present the flexible holiday rule for discussion. Admiral Callahan?
My apologies. We're working on some weather issues right now, so sorry about that. So I am here to discuss with you just a very quickly a concept, and we need to do it before we get to the first resolution because that is going to come up in that resolution. But I wanted to talk about flex holidays. Sometimes they're referred to as floating holidays. We recently had some really good dialogue with our employees on holidays in general, and tried to get some feedback from them on how we're running holidays here at the board. And so we took it back to the executives board and discussed some things. And one of the issues that came up was, well, are we providing enough flexibility to our employees when it comes to time off? And Ghassan brought it up, and we all kind of kicked it around. There's this concept out there, and many of you have probably experienced it in other organizations. It's quite common in public and private sector organizations where they'll offer a flexible holiday. What a flex holiday is basically a paid holiday that each employee can decide when they want to take it. Typically, it's a designated holiday. It's on one of the holidays that you designate at the beginning of the year, and it expires at the end of the year. So, for instance, if we were to employ a flex holiday here at the Sturgeon Water Board, we would pick, let's just say we pick New Year's Eve, which is what I think you're going to hear in a minute on the resolution. But we pick New Year's Eve and make it a flex holiday. Our employees could either take that holiday on New Year's Eve, or they could sometime within the year apply that holiday when they wanted to. Again, this is something folks use out there, many organizations use. It doesn't cost us anything more because it's out of our normal holiday schedule, but it gives our employees some better flexibility. So we've kind of decided that we'd like to present that concept to you all for consideration. You know, we all know that there are some good benefits to those kind of things. We're increasing employee satisfaction, flexibility, work-life balance, all of those things that the human resources organizations tell you are good things. Really, you can accomplish with a flex holiday. So we'd like to consider doing that. In order to do it, it does take a civil service rule change. We have engaged civil service on this. Amy Trepanier has been very positive about it. She thinks it's a great idea and has taken it to the city, who has considered it. And I believe the rule change will be looked at on Monday's Civil Service Commission meeting. So really just wanted to introduce that concept to you so it doesn't look strange when you see the resolution, which is up in front of you now. And I'm not sure if you want me to segue into that, or do we need to take a break, and then how do you want me to do that?
Question.
I'm about to say,
Maybe we can just discuss flex holiday and
I think this should be coming up through the operations committee, not arriving at the board without having gone through a committee.
I fully agree.
And a lot of issues associated with the whole holiday issue.
agreed.
There's a committee process for this, and it should be utilized. We meet regularly, and this is something clearly within the jurisdiction of
January, so we can
Janet's committee, and I don't think that should be stepped past.
The other thing I wanted to mention is that this board is almost newly constituted when it comes to the schedule that's presented. This is what we've done in the past. I think board members should have the opportunity to weigh in when committees meet in the days and times, and we hadn't had an opportunity to do that either.
Okay.
So do we make a motion to defer or what?
So we're just on a discussion item, so when we get to the action items, we can, entertain a motion to defer until the January meetings.
I got a question. So is it to start this process with this, well, deferring this to the committee, which I agree needs to be passed by the committee, does it have consequences with the process with civil service?
No, it doesn't. Civil Service is going to take it up on Monday anyway. The city has decided apparently that they would like to have that flexibility if they want to use it. And I would let's say that in terms of the resolution, what you'll see is that there is an asterisk item next to the New Year's Eve holiday. We're proposing the holiday schedule as you see it up there. There's 14 holidays, same as the city. We just asterisk next to New Year's Eve, and then the asterisk note says that should Civil Service Commission approve the rule change, that we would be able to use that as a flex holiday. So that part of it, certainly you'd want to take up.
No, not necessarily. I think that should be going through committee also.
Okay.
If the board's being asked to pass on holidays, that should be coming through committee.
We may defer to the operations committee
Yeah.
as recommended by the board. And when we get to the action items, we just need a motion to defer.
So moved.
Not yet, we're still on the discussion item, sorry.
Question, since we're in discussion phase, what is a family holiday as opposed to a normal holiday? What is considered family?
The city and civil service designate a certain number of holidays as family holidays. The actual pay rate for those who work on those holidays is higher than it is for a normal holiday. You'll see up there that in 4th of July, Christmas, you'll see that you can see it up there which ones are. There's a handful of them. So there's a difference in how employees would be paid if they work those holidays.
Understood. Any other questions as we're in the discussion phase right now?
So deferring this till the committee would mean that the asterisk has to come off the New Year's Eve thing, correct?
I think it means more than that. I think it means we take a look at the holiday schedule if we're being asked to approve it.
The whole resolution will be deferred.
Yeah, but I'm saying with respect to, since we're not gonna meet till after New Year's Eve, you can't say that New Year's Eve is gonna have the stars, but the asterisk behind it.
This is
It's New
next
Year's
year.
Eve next year, yeah, 23. So.
Or maybe we have to approve January.
Oh, sorry, it's 23.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah, maybe we have to approve January to get through January, but.
You can always ratify it.
It says 23, I didn't read it correctly.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the idea here is to avail the 14 days to our employees with the one flexibility, because then we will have one less day that the utility is closed. Because if we assign 14, assuming that you approve it, 14 constant days, that means the utility is closed those 14 days. With the one floating holiday, the utility will remain open that one extra day. So, which we think is beneficial to our customers. So that's one less disruption to the customer, but then we're still affording and providing our employees all days that everybody else is getting.
When you say everybody, that's one of the issues, when you say everybody else is getting. I think we
Within
have,
city government.
well, I think we have, do we have to necessarily do what city government does? Is one of the questions. And what is its cost when we have holidays? And what have we added over the course of the years?
Yeah.
When I've heard of flex holidays, it's usually you had a choice between two marked holidays. I mean, I used to have this system where you could take New Year's Day, or you could take, Labor Day, or whatever it was. And I think that's something that needs, again, I just think it needs to be reviewed by the board, by the committee.
Sure. If that's a desire, or no objection.
How do we deal with January 2nd, though, to assure that that's a holiday?
So
And
we
Martin
can,
Luther King Day, because that has to be taken care of at the same time.
yes,
Yes,
those
the
could also,
January one.
also be,
January 2nd is a 23 holiday, so.
we can ratify
Here's
those.
Day.
We can ratify
Historically, those days have
It's
been
always been holidays.
holidays approved by this board.
It's a national holiday.
Yeah, so it's you're not really departing or veering from past practices for at least those couple days. So they could be ratified because they're consistent with past practices, or you can maybe take measure just specific to those today. Is that appropriate?
Yes, you can amend when we get to the action item, we can amend the resolution to just take up the days that you would like to vote on and defer the rest of the holidays in the committee meeting schedule.
Got it.
I'm just taking some notes. Go ahead.
Okay.
Just
Questions? Is everybody okay? Any other comments or questions?
Good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now let's move to our action items. And of course, our first action item is Resolution R-184, 2022.
So I move that the dates in January be approved and the rest of it be deferred to the Operations Committee.
Second that.
I would also add that we defer the committee board calendar approval to our next board meeting as well.
Approve the January ones and defer the rest to the Operations Committee.
Excellent.
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved by Dr. Scholas and by Director Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next.
Resolution 185, 2022, that will be authorizing application to the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality. Gray Lewis, please, our CFO.
Thank you. Good morning. This resolution is authorization for our next sewer loan application with the LADEQ to fund up to $20 million of upgrades and repairs to the West Bank wastewater treatment plant, replacing components that have been in place since its original construction in 1972 or were not replaced after Hurricane Katrina. The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act has provided additional funding to the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. So we're very excited to be applying. We did so on the East Bank earlier a few months ago, so this is for the West Bank, and look forward to take advantage of this low interest financing available. So we thank you for the board's vote on this resolution.
Okay.
We can do these in globo, or we're doing them all one at a time, or
No,
what?
we have to do that individually, sorry.
Okay, may we have a motion to approve Resolution R-185, 2022, authorizing application to the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved by Director Sloss, seconded by Director Pacho. Any discussion? Do we have any public comment?
No public comment.
All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have Resolution R-186, 2022. Gray Lewis, again. Please
Yes.
introduce the resolution.
Thank you. Resolution 186 is our standard blanket appropriations for our fiscal 23 budget. It covers the disbursement of all of our board funds that we'll collect and spend, and refers back to our 2023 capital and operating budgets. So these three resolutions work together, enable us to do normal operation. The coordination with our Board of Liquidation serves our custodian. Thanks for the board's vote on this resolution 186.
All right, so we have a motion to approve Resolution 186, adopting the 2023 operation budget and the 2023 capital budget blanket appropriations.
Oh, we're doing 186, so that's the budget blanket spending resolution. This one here.
All right, may we have a motion to approve?
186.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Director Scholas, seconded by Director Pacho. Any discussion? Any public comment? All right, for this one, we'll need a roll call vote.
Mayor Cantrell, Councilmember King, Director Barnes,
Yes.
Director Duplessis,
Yes.
Director Markowitz,
Yes.
Director Guzman,
Yes.
Director Pacho,
Yes.
Director Sloss,
Yes?
Director Howard,
Yes.
Director Scholas,
Yes.
Director Taylor. Motion carries.
Thank you all for your vote. Next, we have Resolution R-182, 2022.
Thank you.
On
Yeah,
again.
yeah, just to share with the full board, didn't get to hear the full presentation, our fiscal '23 operating budget, as Ghassan mentioned earlier, we're very happy to be able to present what's required, a legally balanced budget, so that we budget for water, sewer, drainage, our three systems, and we have to have net revenue sufficient to meet our debt service requirement, so that in this cycle, is again, very important to budget appropriately for those to protect our bonding capacity. And again, we just wanted to emphasize to the teams and going through this budget process to remain accountable, take control of our destiny. So we've gone through the full process, very, very happy to be able to present this, because as you know, the revenues are flat with water, sewer, no rate increases for this budget. Drainage, about a 6% increase, which is kind of recouping from the last couple years of COVID and Ida. And on the expense side, we do have increases from the personnel costs with the raises going in effective January 1, and the market conditions with increased utility costs and commodities costs. So all those factored into what we've pulled together for recommendation today, and the operating budget will be at the debt service covenants well above our 1.25 required, and have appropriate cash on hand for our liquidity requirement. So within the resolution 182, we established operation and maintenance budgets of $236.5 million for the three systems, and the planned debt service of $51.2 million, and also set aside a PAYGO for cash financing, which we dedicate to our capital improvement plan of estimated $43 million. Appreciate the board's vote on this, and I'll describe the capital budget as well. That's under Resolution 183, adopts a capital budget with approximately $518 million of proposed projects, with $441 million of funding for those projects. So for those that are not funded, they would be deferred until additional funding sources are identified. It also approves a 10-year capital improvement program, which encompasses over $2.5 billion of planned future investments into our systems. And again, we appreciate your support in providing and helping with the many funding opportunities at the city level, state, federal, and we continue to pursue those for needed investment in our capital expenditures.
Thank you for both of those presentations. May we have a motion to approve Resolution R 182, adopting the 2023 operating budget?
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Director Sloss, seconded by Director Howard. Any discussion? Any public comment? All right, we need a roll call vote.
Mayor Cantrell, Councilmember King, Director Barnes,
Yes.
Director Duplessis,
Yes.
Director Markowitz,
Yes.
Director Guzman,
Yes.
Director Pacho,
Yes.
Director Sloss,
Yes.
Director Howard,
Yes.
Director Scholas,
Yes.
Director Taylor. Motion carries.
Motion carries. Excellent. Next, let's go ahead and have a motion to approve Resolution 183, 2022, adopting the 2023 capital budget.
Mayor Cantrell, Councilmember King.
We got
I'm sorry. I'm just.
Hurry you
motion
up.
first. Got a motion first. I'm ready to roll.
So moved.
So moved by Director Dr. Scholas.
Sorry.
Seconded by Director Barnes. Any discussion? All right, any public comment?
No public comment.
Thank you. And yes, now please proceed with the roll call vote.
Thank you. Mayor Cantrell, Councilmember King, Director Barnes.
Yes.
Director Duplessis.
Yes.
Director Markowitz.
Yes.
Director Guzman.
Yes.
Director Pacho.
Yes.
Director Sloss.
Yes.
Director Howard.
Yes.
Director Scholas.
Here, yes.
Motion carries.
Where am I? What's happening?
We kind of lost it for us. Okay. Thank you.
Just FYI, you would correct Director Duplessis, Resolution 186, 2022 was the 2023 operating budget and 2023 capital budget blanket appropriations.
Got
It
it.
includes both. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on with our agenda items, we have corresponding resolutions. These are typically taken in global.
Yes, we will need a housekeeping matter to be taken care of, and that's the deferral of Resolution 149, 2022. Award of approved list of firms to provide professional design and related services. That was voted on and deferred in the Finance Committee meeting.
Okay. So with that, may I have a motion to approve?
To defer, to defer.
Hold on, not yet.
Okay.
May I have a motion to approve the 18 corresponding resolutions on the agenda as previously approved by December 7th, removing Resolution R 149, 2022?
So moved.
Well done.
Good.
All right. It's been moved by Director Dr. Scholas and seconded by Director Markowitz. Any discussion? Any public comment?
None.
Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. All right, so you have a number of information items included in your packets for board review. Next on our agenda is executive session.
So moved for executive session?
Second.
It's been properly moved by Director Dr. Scholas, seconded by Director Pacho. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion May we have a motion to exit executive
So
session?
moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Director Sloss, seconded by Director Barnes. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We are now in regular session. Now, we have a motion to approve special counsel's recommendation regarding case 4768.
So moved.
It's been moved by Director Pacho, second by Director Markowitz. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Are there any general public comments? Hearing none. If there are no other matters to come before the board, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, it's been moved by Director Sauce, seconded by Director Howard. All in favor? Does anybody oppose?
Happy holidays, everybody.
All right.
Hearing none, motion carries. We are adjourned.
Mhm.